Hello guys, and welcome to this video with me, Coach Reese. How you all doing? So in today's video we're going to circle back to formations and we're going to take a look at the 4-2-2-2 formation. It's a little bit of a mouthful, so throughout the video I will refer to it as the 4-2-2-2. As always, timestamps and chapters are below. So let's get into the basic structure. So firstly, we have our goalkeeper. In front of that we have our defensive unit, which is the same as any other 4 at the back formation. We have our 2 centre backs, and then we have our right and left backs either side of the centre backs. Moving forward, we have our midfield unit. In the 4-2-2-2, we can break the midfield unit into pairs. So we have our first pair just in front of our defensive unit, which is our double pivot. Then in front of our double pivot, we have our 2 attacking midfielders. In the 4-2-2-2, our 2 attacking midfielders have quite a free role. This is because they're our main creative outlet in the formation. And then right at the top, we have our 2 strikers. As we look at the basic structure of the formation, we can notice that it's incredibly central. And this is because we don't have any wingers. And this offers quite an interesting dynamic both in and out of possession with the 4-2-2-2. So let's take a look at in possession. So if we focus our attention to our defensive unit and our double pivot, we notice that it looks exactly the same as the base of the 4-2-3-1, or sometimes the 4-3-3. So this will encourage the formation to play out from the back, and playing out from the back in the 4-2-2-2 can have a lot of success. Our double pivot play a vital role in our success when playing out from the back, and this is where we'd like to try and play. So the hope is that we can get the ball to our double pivot. It might be goalkeeper to centre back, then into one of our members of the double pivot, who can receive on the half turn and start to progress forward. That might be travelling or playing into the attacking midfielders. The key advantage of a double pivot is it means that we can play out both left and right, whereas potentially with a single pivot, we're limited to the side that the single pivot's currently on. When playing out from the back, we do also have the option to go into our fullback. Now going into our fullback directly, either from the goalkeeper or a centre back, probably isn't the best idea. This is because once the fullback receives the ball, because we don't have that winger, we don't have that natural forward pass for them to play. So once the fullbacks receive the ball, the pass really is going central or backwards. And if we think about pressing triggers, a backwards pass is an opportunity for the opposition to press. So what we often see with the 4-2-2-2 is that a pass into a fullback will be targeted by the opposition press. This doesn't mean that we can't play into the fullback, but the better way to go to the fullback is to still go through the double pivot. So we might see the same set of passes from goalkeeper, centre back into our double pivot, but at that point the double pivot can play to the fullback. And the real advantage with this is by going through the double pivot first, we get our fullback beyond the first line of pressure. So then they can start to travel into potentially free space, and that can start to bring us forward up the pitch. Another option that the 4-2-2-2 has that we don't necessarily have with single striker formations is that we can play long. So with 2 strikers, it means that if we do choose to play long, we always have support near the player who's about to receive. So if the goalkeeper plays long into one striker, the other striker might be there to chase a flick on or drop to receive a setback. Playing long can be a good option. It can help us relieve pressure. So by the 4-2-2-2 having both, we can play out or we can play long, can offer some really interesting dynamics with the formation. As we start to build into midfield with the 4-2-2-2, the formation offers us the opportunity to have a numerical advantage in here, and we can have that numerical advantage against pretty much any combination of formation. So if we're against a 4-4-2 with 2 players in midfield, we have that advantage, or against a 4-3-3, we still maintain that numerical advantage in here. This advantage is a result of not using wingers. So because we're forced to play centrally, having those extra players in there can really increase the success. As we move into our attacking shape with the 4-2-2, what we will see is we will see the formation move to a 2-2-2-4. This is with our fullbacks going nice and high and joining that front line of 4 with our 2 strikers. This can help us create lots of little pockets of numerical advantage across the pitch. To help us manipulate the structure of the opposition's block, the 4-2-2 can make really effective use of attacking rotations, and the strikers tend to be the players at the forefront of this. This is because we have 2 strikers in this formation. We can have a striker each occupying one of the opposition's centre-backs. So what we might see in the first instance is we might see one of the strikers drop. This hopefully brings the opposition's centre-back with them, and that space in behind then can be attacked by an attacking midfielder. To release that attacking midfielder, we will need lots of quick combinations between the strikers, attacking midfielders, and other supporting players so that we can release a player into that space behind. Another option that we have to help us free up space centrally is we might see one of the strikers move wide. Again, hopefully this will bring one of the centre-backs with them, so that if we've got the ball with our full-back, we open up that space in the middle so that the other striker or an attacking midfielder can attack that space and be on the end of the cross from the fullback. Because the 4-2-2 positions all its players centrally, if the opposition have a really organised defensive structure and can restrict our progression centrally, we can often find ourselves with no place to go. This is because we don't necessarily have the options out wide that we would get if we had wingers. One way that we can counteract this is to have a profile within our attacking midfielder who can travel, so who's a really good dribbler with the ball, who can take us beyond lines of pressure. To support this, our double pivot needs to be really well balanced. We might find that one is a deep line playmaker who can be responsible for those really good line breaking passes to get us forward and beyond pressure. And the other one might be more of an enforcer who's going to be responsible for protecting against counter-attacks and doing more of the defensive duties. So let's think about the formation when out of possession. If we just look at the formation as its basic structure, we notice that the formation has a really solid base. This square is created from our double pivot and our 2 centre-backs. This solid base here can really build the foundation for a strong formation when out of possession. It can help us protect against transitions, and it just gives us that foundation when out of possession. When pressing in the 4-2-2, the best option that we have is to try and force the opposition to play into central areas. As we discussed earlier, this is where we will have our numerical advantage, so this gives us a really good place to try and win the ball. If we were to force the opposition wide, we don't have any wingers there. It can be quite difficult for us to regain possession in those areas, but by forcing centrally, we have numerical advantage and we can hopefully regain possession. The best way to do this is, because we have 2 strikers, they can almost cut the passes off towards their fullbacks, and this will encourage the opposition to play centrally, again into our numerical advantage where we can hopefully regain the ball. As we move back with the 4-2-2, it will start to look similar to a 4-4-2. The slight difference we will see is we will see our attacking midfielders stay slightly higher at this point, and this will create a hexagon between our midfield unit and our 2 strikers. This shape can be very difficult for the opposition to play into, so if they've got midfielders in there, it can restrict those passes into those players. And this will naturally force the opposition wide, which is away from the central areas and it's away from our goal. So all we'll see at this point is as the ball moves wide, we'll just see this hexagon move left or right. And again, just try and restrict those passes into central areas where the opposition will have their more creative players. As we move further back into our deep block, this is where the formation really looks like the 4-4-2. So what we'll see at this point is we'll see our two attacking midfielders just move to the left or to the right of our double pivot to create that middle line of 4. What we might also see is one of our strikers drop into that middle line to create a 4-5-1. This also gives us the option for one of the double pivots, probably the enforcer, to just drop into the space between our defensive line and our midfield line, just to pick up those players on the opposition's team who would like to receive the ball between our lines. And that's the 4-2-2. It's a really interesting formation that we don't often see very much, but we are seeing quite a lot at the moment with Man United. So it'll be really interesting to see how it looks over the rest of the season. If you have found the video useful and you would like to support me in the channel, I do have a Ko-fi page where if you want to, you can just buy me a cup of coffee. As always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I've been Coach Reese, and I will see you in the next one.